Okay, so I think we're ready for this session to move into the audience participation section. If folks, I think you know the drill by now. I don't think I have to explain it. Again, green, yellow, red. Anyone want to make a comment from the audience? All right, please introduce yourself and state who you are, where you're from.
Dr. Tracy Main, Purdue Pharma, and board member of NPC. Given that all of these are dichotomous outcomes, have you considered time-dependent survival analysis? So take a more Cox proportional hazards approach. You can allow both dose, duration, changes in dose to evolve over time towards that endpoint. But so many other techniques have been discussed, and I hadn't heard that one. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. Any other members of the audience would like to make comment? Going, gone. Okay. Any closing comments that anyone on the panel would like to make, and my FDA colleagues up here? Oh, Dr. Dasgupta.
Hi, thanks for saying my name so I didn't have to do it. I think after listening to the discussion about the limitations of a lot of these data sources, I kind of get a sense of a little cognitive dissonance in that we rely on these same data sources to say, well, the Florida pill mill legislation worked. The PDMPs have contributed to reductions in prescribing or doctor shopping, and that, that we know that there's a transition to heroin happening. We're using the same data sources to make inferences that we feel comfortable is the truth. But at the same time, when it comes to this specific question, there's this kind of hesitation to believe the same data sources and it's not just radars or Navipro or NISDA or any given one, but pick the ones you believe. So I kind of, at the end of the day, am left with this, I believe these data for the big picture, but somehow, the conversations picking apart each of the flaws, which I think is a very important discussion to have, doesn't kind of roll up in the same way. So I don't know what to do with that, but I just wanted to kind of share that's something that's going through my head.
Any reaction to that? Is it Dr. Novak down there? I'm seeing raise your hand.
Sorry. I think one of the things that the FDA needs to settle on is, and it's been brought up a couple times, is this word meaningful. I think about each of the different presenters often had it, and I mean, is it a statistical significance, so it's a p-value of 0.05, or is it some clinically significant difference? But I think it's something that you're going to have to keep, that's going to keep coming back, and at some point, I think as an agency, you're just going to have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is meaningful to us as we monitor the side effects, and if, misuse, abuse, and diversion, overdose, these are side effects. Do they have differential levels of, acceptability and evidence that supports whatever that threshold is? So.
Thank you. Other comments? Last thoughts? Any last advice on how we can best make use of the data we have in front of us before we move on to the loftier goals of tomorrow? Well, I want to thank all of you. I would like to thank our panel members, our FDA folks, as well as our audience for a very productive day. You've certainly given us a lot to think about, some of which we understand and some of which we'll be asking you more about. And then tomorrow we're going to be talking about how can we think about improving things and how can we think about doing things better. So don't lose track of some of those ideas that work their way into the conversation today, because we'll want to learn more about them tomorrow. So thanks very much. We'll be starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning. They'll see you then.